welcome back to another Storytime craft. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a pom-pom ice cream cone. Yum, 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 yum. So yummy. So for the craft materials you will need for today, you will need some yarn. You can use whatever color that you prefer, a ruler, a piece of paper that is 5 by 5 inches, a pom-pom. It's optional. I just like it's a nice little cherry on top, so that helps. Some glue if you are using the pom-pom, and a black marker to draw in your details. If you don't have a marker, crayon works too. And then I just usually keep scissors and tape handy because I usually need that. All right, so we're gonna get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do for this craft is you're going to want to make your pom-pom, because that is the ice cream for the craft. So before you start making your pom-pom, you're going to want to cut a single piece of yarn, and you're going to want it to be about 12 inches because you're going to use this to tie your yarn together, your yarn ball. And it'll make sense when we get there. So you're going to cut it and then leave it aside. Next thing you're going to do is you are going to take your yarn and you're going to put part of it in between your fingers so it's secure, and then you're just going to start wrapping. And to get a full pom-pom, or a full ice cream scoop I should say, you're going to want to do this about 150 times. So just when you're laying it down, make sure you have it laid straight down across, and then you're just going to go over it, like I said, 150 times about. And that's if you want a really full pom-pom, which, I mean, of course you want a really full pom-pom. So now you're just going to continue that process until you have it nice and full. So we're going to speed up that process. Okay, so once you have the thickness of the pom-pom that you desire, you're going to want to gently slide the pom-pom off of your fingers, and that yarn that you cut earlier, you're going to put in the middle and then bring it back out. This is probably the most difficult part of the craft because there's so much yarn. Well, actually, I should probably cut that. Okay, so it's going to come out on both sides, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to tie it. You're going to tie a knot so that it brings it all together. And then you're gonna want to make it as secure as possible. So if you need to, make a double knot, because you do not want that to come apart. And then you're gonna flip it over and you're gonna tie again. You're gonna do it in the same direction, and that is important because we're going to cut our pom-pom. Okay, so once you have your pom-pom, you are going to start cutting it so you get the pom-pom shape. Just be careful that you don't cut the string that you tied the knot, because if you cut it, then your whole pom-pom's gonna fall apart. So I just take scissors and I start gently cutting, making sure not to cut the knot that I tied so that the pom-pom opens up. And you probably want to make sure that an adult is doing this part if you're working with younger kids, just because toddlers and scissors are usually not a good idea. All right, so we're gonna speed this up too. Okay, so once you get the desired shape of your pom-pom, you're ready to move on to your ice cream cone. You don't really have to worry about the bottom part because this part is what's going to sit inside the cone. But usually you would cut all around the pom-pom to get the full pom-pom shape. But because it's hidden, I'm just going to move on. So for the cone, you're going to need a 5 by 5 inch piece of paper. I recommend construction paper because it's thicker, but you can work with what you have. So to get the cone texture, you're just going to draw lines, which is why I recommend the ruler. I've already done it going one way, so now I'm just going to flip my paper over and I'm going to put in the opposite direction so it looks like the crisscross pattern of a waffle cone. Once you have your crisscross design, you can use a plate to trace a circle onto your paper because that's what's going to make your cone. I've already traced where I'm going to cut, so now I'm going to cut my cone so that I can fold it into a cone shape. Okay, so now you are going to assemble your cone. I used really thick paper, so mine is a little harder to fold. So what you could do is you can kind of roll it up first so that it's easier to tape. If you use thin paper, that's not really going to be a problem. I just happen to use really thick paper for durability's sake. Alright, and then I'm going to tape my cone together. If you don't have tape, you can use glue too. I just think it's easier for tape. But usually you can use whatever you have that you have. Alright, and there is my cone. And before I put my ice cream scoop inside my cone, I'm going to glue my pom-pom on top. So because I am using a pom-pom, I like to use tacky glue just because it sticks better. But again, use whatever you have at home. If you're handy with sewing, you can probably even sew it into the yarn strand. I am not, so I just glue it on top. Okay, and there's your ice cream cone. And you can stop. Alright, and that's how you make this week's Storytime craft. I hope you had fun making your pom-pom ice cream cone, and I hope you enjoyed our Scoop Up a Good Book Storytime theme, and we'll see you next week for more. Bye!